Companions, welcome. I would like to continue telling you stories about my experiences in this part of the wilderness. But if I may, I'd like to start with a poem. I'd like to read you a fragment from A Summer Day by Mary Oliver. She's one of my favorites. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to kneel in the grass, how to fall down into the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I've been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it that you plan to do with this one wild and precious life? Hope you enjoyed that. So let's get to the stories. I thought I'd start with roan. Roan are one of the rarer species of the African savannah. Even people that go to African game parks regularly may never see one in their entire lifetime. One of the reasons why they appear to be so rare is because they have very specific habitat preferences. They like more open savanna woodland with taller grass. And this is because of their grazing patterns. But if you deny them that, then they move away and eventually they just fade. And it just shows you how delicately balanced these biomes on the savanna actually are. Among the antelopes, roan are one of the most interesting. For one, after giraffe, they are the biggest antelope on the savanna, now that eland have been classified as bovine. This gives you an idea of the size of their tracks. You can see it's large. It's almost like an eland. They are striking animals. They've got these grey-brown and some little bit reddish-brown coats and war paint markings on their faces and strong curved back horns, almost like a sable but not quite so long. If you see one in the veld, then you know you are watching an animal with presence. Roan move around in herds, usually breeding herds. And the breeding herd consists of several mature cows, older ones and younger ones, and then young. And it very often has a dominant bull with it. But the dominant bull does not lead the herd. The herd is led by a dominant female. She decides where they're going to graze, when they're going to go to water and where, and so on. The bull follows. His role is restricted to protecting his females against interference from other bulls and breeding, of course. Roan don't seem to be particularly territorial, but they do leave markings. They horn bushes and shrubs. They leave markings on the ground with their horns and their hooves, and they will leave scent trails with their petal glands. And when other herds come across these signs, they tend to respect them and keep away. So that although they won't defend the territory, they end up each sticking to their own area. Likewise, the bulls will not defend the territory that he's in. You will simply defend his females. Inside the herd, the bonds between the individuals become very stable, and the herd remains together for their lifetime. What I find strange is they seem to have a loose association, because when they move around or when they rest, they keep a certain distance between each other, as if they like their personal space, 5-10 meters or so. They're not like wildebeest and zebra that tend to crowd together. And I find this very interesting about them. Older cows in the herd, they seem to position themselves on the outskirts of the herd when they move and when they rest. And they are the ones that always spot me first, because they're extremely vigilant. This seems to be their agreed role almost. And here is a short video of me trying to approach them, a herd that I found in the book. I've spotted a herd of roan. They're about 80 meters away from me. I can see two very clearly, and I can see the movements of several others. And I've also got excellent senses. So
I've managed to creep up a bit. Now you can see the two more clearly, although there are several more over there, which I can see. You probably can't. I'm going to try and get a little bit closer still. There's one of those older cows. I think she might have spotted. I'm going to stand still for a bit and then see if I can get a little bit closer. Oh, I think she actually spotted me now. She's looking very intently. I think she is going to graze the alarm any minute. I'm going to stand still for a bit and then I'm going to quietly move away so that I don't influence the herd.
But here I managed to sneak up to the dominant bull in the herd. He was standing a bit to the side, and he didn't have the benefit of those old cows. And I managed to get fairly close to him. But you can see he's not relaxed. He's a little bit nervous, and he moves away quite quickly. But I did manage to get a really good picture of a bull, a splendid specimen. He was standing out on the floodplain one late afternoon, and I snuck up to him through the foliage on the edge of the floodplain. I got fairly close, and the best camera I have, as you know, is my little telephone. I got this beautiful photograph of him. You can see what a magnificent animal a roan is, and how lucky one is if one actually manages to see one. Another interesting thing about a roan is the cows, when they're about to give birth, will move away from the herd, and they will go into a secluded spot and give birth there. And then they will hide away the calf and return to the herd and only go back to the calf to feed it. And the calf will remain in the general area. The cow allows it to find its own hiding place. It relies exclusively on camouflage and concealment for its protection. This carries on for quite a long period, maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks. And after that, calf will join the cow and they will go back to the herd. The young bulls, as soon as they get sexually matured, the dominant bull will chase them away from the herd. And these bulls commonly form bachelor herds. And there's a loose association between these individuals. They come and they go. And when the bulls mature and they're not strong enough to fight for their own herd, then they become solitary. And it's quite common to find solitary bulls on the savannah. One of the most interesting things about the roan is its grazing habits. As I said before, they like taller grass. And they feed very delicately from the tops of the grass, lower and lower. And they hardly ever graze lower than about 200 millimeters. And that means that there's always a bit left for the closer croppers like wildebeest and zebra and so on. And this illustrates that the savannah is not purely a place of competition. It's also a place of quiet accord. Companions, I hope you enjoyed that and that you will join me again next week. Good luck.